All right, welcome back. This is video 2 for lesson 10.6, and we're going to finish out these last two examples. So our first example is looking at the volume of a sphere. They give us the volume, and we want to find the surface area of the sphere. So what we want to do is take the volume formula, and we're going to work with that in our given volume, and we're going to work that all the way down until we find the radius. Then we're going to take that radius, we're going to pump it into our original surface area formula, and then we're going to find the surface area of the sphere. And it's really the best way to do it. I wish there was a shorter way, but it kind of turns into a big two-step problem, or two problems in one. So here we go. Once again, the volume formula, 4/3 pi r cubed. So we're going to take our volume, plug that in for the volume. And then what we want to do is isolate this r. We want to get the r by itself. So we want to get rid of all of this stuff next to the r, the 4/3, the pi. So the first thing we could do is divide by pi. These pi's are going to cancel. Over here, we're going to take 904.77 divided by pi. Plugging that into our calculator, we get 288. Now we have 4/3 multiplied by r cubed. We want to get rid of this 4/3. So one technique mathematicians discovered was we can go ahead and multiply by the flip, or the reciprocal of that fraction. And so we're going to take that 4/3 and flip it and put the 4 on the bottom and the 3 on the top. And we're going to get 3/4. What we're going to do is multiply both sides by 3/4. And when we multiply by that reciprocal, these fractions are going to cancel each other out, because we would get 12 over 12. Because when we multiply fractions together, we multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. And 12 over 12 is the same as 1, so those are eliminated. And then we need to remember to multiply that left side by 3/4. I'll just show that here on the calculator. So we wanted to take 288. To multiply it by 3/4 or 3/4, we're going to multiply it by 3/4 in parentheses. There we go, 216. So now we have 216 equals r to the third power. So we're asking what multiplied by itself 3 different times gives us 216. So we could think like 2 times 2 times 2, that would be 8. 3 times 3 times 3, 27. Getting closer, 4 times 4 times 4, 64. And it ends up being 6. 6 times 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And then 36 times 6 is 216. But if you can't do it in your head, what we want to do is the opposite of the cube. And that's going to be the cube root. Kind of like the square root, but to the third power. So it's the cube root. And so to type the cube root into the calculator, it's a little more complicated. We have to click on this math button. Then we scroll down to the fourth one, the cube root. And we're going to type in the 216, so the cube root of 216. There we go, 6. So now we know the radius is 6 inches. And now it becomes a little bit easier. We just go back to our surface area formula, and we want to find the surface area of the sphere. So we plug in 6. So 4 times pi times 6 squared. So here we go, 4 multiplied by pi multiplied by 6 squared. And there we go, 452.389, or we'll round that to 0.39. And our units are inches squared because this is surface area. So I'll encourage you to pause the video to understand this problem fully, to ask questions. Make sure you know how to type that into the calculator, try it out, and we'll move on to this bottom one here. So this bottom problem is kind of a pill shape, kind of like a Tylenol or Advil or something. And as we look at the shape, we want to ask, what shapes do we see? And inside the middle, I see a cylinder. And on the outside, I see a half a sphere and a half a sphere. And we're looking for the total surface area. So to find the surface area of a sphere, well, we could look at the sphere. We could break it up into two shapes. The sphere, put the two half spheres together, we get one sphere. Then we could get the lateral surface area, which, as we unroll that, would turn into a rectangle. So the surface area of the sphere just turns into our formula, 4 times pi times radius squared. They give us the radius, 8. So we can plug that in and put that on our calculator like we just practiced. And then the lateral surface area, this middle part, that just would turn into a rectangle with a width of 15. And the distance around our rectangle would be the whole circumference of the circle. And if we think back to our previous chapter, circumference of a circle is pi times diameter. So pi multiplied by 16, because double 8, we get 16. So pi times 16 is our diameter, so 50.27. So there we have the dimensions on a rectangle. And then we can go ahead and multiply these two dimensions together to get the area of the rectangle, which is here, which is our whole lateral surface area. And then we go ahead and we just add those two together, the sphere, the two kind of end cones in the middle part, and there we get our total surface area for that shape. So that's surface area, and of course our units are here, centimeters squared, because we're in centimeters, not volume, so it's not cubed, it's squared. So I'll encourage you to pause the video here, try to do it yourself, type it into your calculator, make sure you get all those values, and please ask questions if you have them.